I think it is up to you to be able to like learn how to help yourself also. But in saying that, I think there is this like pressure on people with mental health issues to like fix themselves and to get better, right? And it's like, I don't know why we're sort of like expected to do that, given the world is really messed up.
It's everything's a reflection. It's not a matter of, oh, you've got a problem inside, you've got to fix that, but more like what's happening, what is the symbiotic relationship between your environment and your internal coping mechanisms, like what is informing the other and where can you make a change, because sometimes you can't change what's happening externally, so you have only the option to change the way you see a situation, but that's often easier said than done.
I'd say it very bluntly as well, the world is insane. We live in a mad world. We're destroying the planet. We're destroying each other. We're under the pump to survive in a capitalistic nightmare. We're debt slaves. It's insanity. We live in an insane world. To respond to that normally, or help to be like, this is fine, that's insane behavior. To be in pain in a response to this insanity, that's healthy. That's a sane response, in my opinion. So to label someone insane by responding emotionally to this stimulus?
Sometimes it does rule on my life, but I try not to let it. So it's something that I know it's there. I know I'm doing what I can to overcome it. I'm putting all those pieces into place, trying to find more things to help me. Still always finding different strategies, talking to different people. Sometimes people have ideas and you take those on board, or it's finding what works for you and finding your path to being yourself again.
How much of it's inward, how much of it's out there? Well, ultimately it's all in there, right? Everything is in there. So my happiness, my peace, it all begins here. If I don't go inward and deal with it in here, I can be like Buddha and just find my Zen in here. And the world can disappear as far as I'm concerned. I can find peace here. So ultimately, it's all here. But then reacting to that world, and are we going to actively change it? Or are we just going to find our peace here? To change it, then it goes outward, but it starts within one. It starts within the self.
And I learned to be better to myself. And so not be so harsh on myself with the losses, but then celebrating the wins was a big thing. So when I did something well, like when I did achieve a goal, celebrate that and acknowledge that and give it the same amount of attention as I did the losses, if not more, to make sure that, I remember there's going to be losses along the way, but there's always going to be wins as well. And they're the important ones.
But you are very self-aware at that time because you're trying to preserve and you're trying to get better. So I crawled back over a period of about 12 months out of the medication, and then it was a climb out of that through lots of meditation, lots of reflection, lots of honest reflection. I had some good counselling as well. Aisha and I talk openly in depth about what's going on as well. But I also write music, and a lot of it I just poured it out in music. Some of it I was just taking the piss about the illness, about myself. That was therapy in its way as well. But I wrote an album that was written in the depths of like my psychotic thoughts, and it was like purging a lot of it. It was very therapeutic, but very dark. And so to answer your question, you do have to get very real with yourself and have a real honest look at yourself to get well, because you got to get to the root of it.
Just while she's doing these last bits, and it's about like baking and creativity. So why do you bake?
I bake because it makes other people happy, and making other people happy makes me happy. It's a very simple thing. It's something small, and everyone likes getting little treats. It lets people know, especially when you tell them, this is for you. It's not like, someone comes to the office party and brings a cake. Someone comes here and says, I was thinking of you and I wanted to make this for you, to give your day a little extra something, to make you a little bit happier. And I hope you enjoy that. Service to people makes me happy. And it's just a small thing, and it's nothing big. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It just takes my time. And I'm happy to spend my time doing something that's going to make other people happy.
For me personally, you know, you sort of do the typical Taylor Swift thing and you have your first breakup and you want to write a song about it or write something about it. Some way where you can express your feelings, and that is through creativity, because you have to start, you know, forming words and ideas, and you know, you really have to dig into it and figure out what you're actually trying to express.
Doing something creative helps me out. When I feel anxious, when I feel sad, I bake. If I'm baking a lot, it's because I'm not feeling great. But knowing that what I'm making is gonna make someone feel great makes me feel better, makes me feel happier.
It's now, you know, a tangible thing. And that is something that's very important for people who have any sort of mental health issues, or even people who are just going through, you know, tough times. And we need to be able to document what's happening here and there. That, you know, at the time, this is how you feel, but maybe a couple months later, you finish the song and you're looking back on it and you're like, that was what I needed back then. And now people can see what you were thinking. People can see, you know, what you want them to see.
Some people paint, some people write, some people sing, some people act, play games. Whatever makes you happy is what you should do. And that's it. As long as it's not hurting anyone, besides maybe, you know, gaining a few kilos, then that's fine. That's all it needs to be.